You're listening to the E2C Network, podcast by Auburn fans for Auburn fans. War Eagle Auburn family, and welcome back to the E2C Network, where we talk about anything and everything on the Auburn family spectrum. Yes, always heavy on the sports here, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. It is summertime of 2021, and as you know, Auburn fans, there's not a lot of Auburn sports to talk about out there unless you're into recruiting, which I know many of you are, and we do some of that here. But in the summer, we like to spend some of our time talking about some different topics within the Auburn family ideals and just things out there that are kind of unique. And we can sometimes connect back to sports, but maybe it's like very loose connections out there. So today on this episode, we're going to be talking about Auburn and video games. Now, I know a lot of you have in your mind right now, oh, great, he's talking about NCAA, the next one that's coming out. No, we're not talking about that today. You might even think about Madden. You might even think about some of the pro baseball and now basketball games with Chumo Kiki and Isaac Okoro out there. You can play with them now, apparently. You might even be thinking about that. We're not even talking about those sports games. We're going to be talking about the game of Minecraft. Hold it right there. We're going to put a pin in that, and we'll get to that in just a second. But I want to introduce my two guests who I found on Instagram. I think it's where it first started off, where I started seeing images of Minecraft and Auburn in a campus creation they were making. Reached out to them and said, hey, let's get together. Let's have a conversation, talk about what you guys are doing. And here we are today. So let me start off by introducing my first guest, Trey Long. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you very much, Kyle. How you doing?
Pretty well. You know, I'm interested to learn about Minecraft from the two of you. I've gazed over there confusedly at the game somewhat, and you know, it's intriguing, and maybe we can get more people into the game after this, after you guys talk about it a little bit. But before that, I do want us to take some time and get to know the two of you. To do that, though, I need to bring in the second guest, Chris Smith. Chris, thank you for being here as well.
How's it going?
Good to have you here, and
Good
we want to know a little bit about the two of you to start off with, about your Auburn fandom, kind of your roots, so to speak. We do a series called Auburn Roots. We're not going to go as in detail there, but if you could give me a quick blurb, Trey, about yourself as an Auburn fan, what would you say?
Okay, well, I went to school at Auburn University. I started there in 2012, but I've been an Auburn fan my entire life. I graduated about 3 years ago, and now I'm living in Atlanta, Georgia, but majored in electrical engineering and just loved it and did most of my part of the project while a student in Auburn, on Auburn's campus, and really enjoyed it. And I'm glad Chris reached out and we can sort of continue, where it started from there.
So you're one of those smart guys. Listen, I had a lot of engineering friends while I was at school at Auburn, and I know obviously every major is different and has, you know, their a certain amount of work they have to do in their different areas. But I have a lot of respect for engineering students because I saw many sleepless nights for some of my friends. I'd be like, hey, you want to go grab a bite to eat? Can't, man. I'm either studying or I gotta get ready for this exam or this test or this project we're doing. So I appreciate what you had to go through as an engineering student at Auburn.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, it's roller coaster. There's good points, but obviously I had enough free time to work on this. So anyway, I'm happy for it. So,
well, Chris, what about you? Your Auburn blurb in a nutshell for us.
I'm second generation Auburn grad. I was visual communications. My dad ran track. He was on the only track team that was coached by Hutzel and Rosen. It was right before he retired. And so that's his, you know, he was in that tiny nutshell. It was it's a really cool story. But, I was just an art guy. I ended up going to grad school for video game design at UCF. And that, because evidently I wasn't, you know, making enough money as a graphic designer. So, you know, it's like, we had to do something else. And then so I came out of that. I mean, I played the fire out of NCAA. You know, I can't, you know, I got buddies who work for Tiburon down there, and we're all just pumped they're bringing that back. So, but anyway, it's, yeah, I'm a humongous Auburn fan. My parents think I'm odd for it, but it's who I am. And
you said they think you're odd for it. Are they Bama fans?
No, they are. My dad ran track there. It's just like, man, you take it over the edge, son.
Yeah, so you just have a different level than they're prepared for.
They're like, oh, why does it mean so much to you?
It's one of those things I think some people have a hard time understanding, especially outside of the Auburn family, why this means so much to all of us. And it goes beyond just football. Case in point for what we're about to talk about here today is a creation of Auburn University, not just the campus, but the surrounding area as well that you guys are creating with this game. And I think it's really cool. It's really unique. It's not something that I thought I'd get super interested in just on a passing glance. But then I started, wow, they're not just making some structures. They're going into detail about what this campus would look like in this world of Minecraft. So to do that, to actually, appreciate for all the listeners out there, some of us are probably not video game experts or even have maybe even touched a video game. Why don't we let Trey explain to the listeners what is Minecraft? Because, when we talk about Auburn and video games, like we said, we think about NCAA. Again, thankful that's coming back. But Minecraft is not a sports-themed game. Explain that to us, Trey.
So, you mentioned NCAA and Madden, that type of thing. It's hard to compare Minecraft to that type of thing just because it's such a weird thing to most people, I guess, that play those type of games. It's been around for a long time now. I started playing it when I was in high school, 2010 or so like that, and really what it is, it's a sandbox game made up of cubes, and basically the basis of the game that is survival. You start and you're mining wood, you're mining dirt, you're digging into the rocks or whatever, and you're crafting things to be able to survive. That's where it gets is Minecraft. So that's the base of the game. But how we were able to do this is there's also this creative mode. And for a few years before, I got more interested in the creative mode just because then, you use all the types of the block and you can fly around and you can basically just build anything out of these cubes, out of these blocks that you want. And so, obviously I was messing around, and obviously because of my love of Auburn and everything else with that, I built Samford Hall. That was the first building that I built that was Auburn related. And I had just so much fun with that. I was like, you know what? Hargis Hall is right next to it, and then Langdon Hall is in between there, and then Davis is right there, and Harbert Center. And then all of a sudden, I had this cluster of buildings that was all basically in the same area. And it kind of just grew from there, and initially I built those. It was actually on the Pocket Edition version. It doesn't even matter. You can get it on the computer, you can get it on an iPad or whatever. And so I was just messing around, and then I eventually just got on the computer, and I posted my first video in 2013. Just basically like I think I'd built 10 buildings by that point. I had no idea really what I was doing. I didn't record my voice there. I don't see myself as much of a public speaker, even now still. And but anyway, what I really enjoyed doing is building these things. I use Google Earth to measure out everything, and it just, to me, being in that world, and even though I could walk the campus, but do it in Minecraft and be able to build that to a point where it kind of feels like you're there in Minecraft was just something that I thought was really cool, and something that I felt like I was pretty good at. And it's really cool to be able to find something that you're able to get really excited about and that you're also can excel at. So that's how it got started. And I only posted like 10 videos my entire time over like a 2-year period, because this type of thing, it's one block, and one building is thousands of blocks, and it's one block at a time. And so it takes time. And so it took 2 years to basically get to where I was. And thank goodness Chris came with his background, because he was able to show me a lot of things that I didn't know was possible, as far as now we've got like accurate terrain and things, which anyway, I had no idea how to do that. And basically copy and pasting patterns and things in there. So it's gotten a lot easier since he hit the picture. And anyway, I hope I kind of describe basically what the gist of the game is and what we're doing.
Yeah, I got 2 follow-up questions for you. First of all, I will mention it at the end of the episode as well, but I want to at the front also mention it. Where is the YouTube channel that you're posting these videos? What's it called?
Okay, so originally it's been Weagler Minecraft. That's been my handle, and that's what the YouTube name is, Weagler, Weagler Minecraft. And but the first video you can find on there was 2013, and like I said, I posted videos from 2013, 2014, and 2015, and then I stopped posting videos just because school had gotten too hard, and I anyway, Chris makes fun. There was like a dead period there for a few years, it even when I stopped making videos, there was this, I guess it was a continual growth, especially on my video when I made Jordan Hare Stadium. There was a huge spike in growth even after I stopped making videos, and it definitely encouraged me to maybe look at it again. So that is the YouTube channel is Weagler Minecraft.
Obviously, we'll mention that again at the end so people can hear it one more time if they want to go check it out. The other question I'd have for you,
and the new one that's going to have all the new updates.
Yeah,
you have to search for Auburn Minecraft project.
Auburn Minecraft. Thank you for clarifying that there. That's great for those places to go check those things out. I do want to ask you, Trey, because in your explanation about what Minecraft was, someone who's not a Minecraft person, I have played games, maybe what you were describing similar. Roller Coaster Tycoon, Zoo Tycoon, kind of, they have missions and goals, but you can build a world. Is that a good analogy for people?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Except something interesting about like Zoo Tycoon and those things, they have like assets in the game that you can just, you can plot a track section in there.
Right.
In Minecraft, all you're working with is blocks. And so honestly, I feel like there's a lot of limitations to those games where I feel like those limitations are kind of stripped away with Minecraft just because there's so little structure. And it's funny and very similar to those games. There is no end state to the game. Like you play it until you're basically sick of playing it, and very similar to those type of games. So yeah, I guess it relates.
Yeah, like literally brick by brick is what it sounds like, as opposed to just it not piece by piece, but you literally go down to the fine essence of what these have to look like, just forming it with these little boxes. And when you go up close, go ahead, Chris.
And there's limitations, actually make, when you have a strong build or make a building in Minecraft, the blocks are basically they're supposed to be 1 meter square, so that's what it's meant to be. And so if you recreate something that's highly detailed with those kind of limitations, you have to get creative. There are slabs, which is a half brick, and there's steps which you can place upside down, and just to make everything. And that's what Trey did a great job with on campus. Was he really focused on getting those buildings spot on. And it's what I was watching those first videos back then. It's like, dang, this is incredible. It's and then when I got a hold of that file, I bugged him enough. He finally sent me the game save, and I opened that up. I was blown away. I was like, this is
a pretty funny story. Yeah.
Well, the thing that's funny about Minecraft for me, from just watching y'all's project, but then obviously doing a little bit of other investigating as well, is that if you get up on the blocks, you can see the blocks themselves, and it kind of obviously looks like a bunch of little pieces put together. But then when you come back out and see the greater picture, it's like it's a little tapestry that has been built, and you kind of lose sight that this was created in a video game. Obviously, it's not 100%, like realistic, and it's not like someone just snapped a photo or a drone footage or something like that. But you kind of get, wow, all this came together to form the campus, to form the surrounding city and community. And it's really fascinating how much detail that y'all have gone into with this. I do want to ask Chris, though, how did we kind of touched on it a little bit, but how did you really get started with Minecraft in this project?
Well, I have a daughter, and of course, every kid these days is a Minecraft expert. So she was, like at first she's, I love Minecraft, and like every one of her T-shirts was Minecraft. She's like
young people's game for sure.
Hogging my computer every summer to play Minecraft all the time. And she's like, Daddy, and we have a server, and we have our own world there. Where when I was not, when we weren't together, she lives in Florida, I live in Texas, and so that was a world we could get on and hang out and FaceTime each other and play on this world, and it wasn't like we're just staring at each other. How was your day? I mean, we're actually getting to just have fun together, and that I can't tell you the number of hours that my daughter and I played on that stinking server, and it was a blast. And so I just threw Trey's Auburn World up there and started working on it. And Gigi, my daughter, she talked me into, it's like, Dad, you need to put World Edit on there. I'm like, what's World Edit? Daddy, you'll love it. Well, what is it? And I was scared she's going to need to put something on there that's going to blow up the server. And like, you really need to do it. And once I did, it's a tool that basically helps you cheat and place a lot of blocks and stuff like in a row.
It's a requirement.
Yeah.
You have to have that now. I mean, it's
at the scale that we're building. Like I mentioned the terrain throughout the campus. I kind of pay attention to terrain, but not really. Like I knew there was a little bit of a drop here, and so I would have to literally dig out the blocks to get down to there to make a little bit of a slope and then come back up. Where anyway, Chris, one of his big projects is he raised all of my original buildings up basically, and then kind of deleted what the terrain was and started over with using actual geographic data and that type of thing. And it was a little surprising when we did the comparison versus my elevation change, and what actually ended up being pretty close.
Yeah, you were close.
By me just eyeing it basically. But that was good. And then he set the buildings back down, and it's kind of amazing the difference that makes. So.
And I don't want to like pigeonhole either of you two in a certain area on this project, but what I'm hearing, maybe I'm hearing this right, is that Chris, for you kind of have become, at least in certain parts of this, almost the structural guy, or that has kind of like, you're talking about the elevation and the terrain.
Right.
Is that something that you've really kind of got a forte for?
Well, I was really interested in it, and I knew the world would look a lot better if we got that correct, because it's so difficult doing it by hand, because you just can't, you can make it look good as far as like in front of one building, but then how does it fit with the other stuff? And it's
easy for it to look squared off because we're dealing with these huge blocks in comparison. And you're talking about, it doesn't look like you're taking a picture of it or anything, but I think that's part of the charm of working with it is because of the difficulty that brings is trying to make those blocky textures look okay. Yeah. I'm sorry to.
Right. And then, but I got a hold of what's called a mod pack, which, when you start up Minecraft, it just adds all these extras to it, and you could start a new world. And Minecraft went out and hit up all these GIS servers, and wherever you were flying around, it was going and finding the actual terrain. And it was, if there was a path or a walkway, it would put a 1 block grass path block there. And if there was a road, it would put a 4 or 5 block wide dark concrete or something thing. So it outlined all the roads, walkways, all the undulation of the terrain, and it was all blank. And I've got images and movies of that, like flying around over Auburn where the streets are there, but there's no buildings. So we're going to post some of those too. It's really freaky, but it was also freaky seeing all the buildings up in the air. It was like something off of what was that TV show?
Aerial America.
not a good, like Fringe, like everything's
good show too.
So it's just hanging up in the air, but it's it's probably wasn't the smartest way to go about it, lifting everything up in the air, but it's, in the end, it worked. And also got to use somebody else's computer that has 64 gigs of RAM, and so pasting 2 million blocks of terrain in stripes actually didn't crash. So but yeah, it's been one of Trey's things. It's like, I'll send him a picture, be like, hey, how's this look? he'll say, it looks like a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly. Just he would say, it was like, here's the progress, and it's been a slow process, and it is a lot of work, and that's kind of why, part of the reason why I left for so long. But I'm enjoying going back, and I think more of my thing is I enjoy coming to where Chris has this, he's set up the terrain now, and so he has this location for where this new building needs to go, all set up and everything, and that makes it's so much easier to be able to collaborate like that. And now, I mean, Chris has absolutely contributed to building those buildings brick by brick, as you say, and I mean, I feel like that's where my bread and butter is, and that's what I enjoy most is kind of original Minecraft type things, but it couldn't be done without the world edit things that we're doing also. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, when I found this project, I obviously got in touch with Chris first, and I thought it was him by himself doing this. And so he told me it was you. And I was like, well, that's interesting. You got two guys in different cities working on this together. How does this work? But as I've had this conversation with you two, it seems like obviously a friendship, but also, a partnership that has meshed really well with your different skill sets to help make this project reality. Because I can imagine, I think you both have even mentioned this, one of the things that you're worried about maybe is burnout with this, is that, this is such a huge undertaking. And you've already had kind of the dead period, I think is what Chris called it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a several years dead period for sure.
But y'all have each other to kind of play on each other's strengths and, help each other with each other's weaknesses and kind of push each other to continue to get this project done. So this is a great example of obviously friendship, but also, just teamwork and kind of using each other to the best of your abilities to do something that you both love.
I mean, it's a low key project. I mean, there's no timetable on it. I mean, it doesn't have to get done. We don't have any expectations of the other person doing anything. It's just,
we both have full-time jobs,
right?
So.
Yes, exactly. Our main thing is, we just, in the end, we want it done right. And, that's kind of probably one of the reasons that I'd like to bring some people in to help, but, handling them, I'd have to vet them. And then, it's kind of,
as with anything, you get more hands and then you lose a little bit of control, and you just have to be okay with that. And eventually, if you get to a certain level of burnout, like I was, it's funny. Because in the early years, when I was making YouTube videos, Chris is not the first one to reach out to me saying, hey, I would love to help with your project. And I was way too proud and very, I guess, into what I wanted to do, what I wanted to look like, that I denied everybody that would email. And by the time emailed me, I had put it down for about a year and a half by then. And I told him then, I said, Chris, this has been a fun project for me, but if you want to continue it, just know it's going to be all you, because I have no intention of starting it again. Thank goodness, though, I guess through talks with him, and he sort of lit the fire back, because he had this sort of new enthusiasm for it, which had been a little bit of old hat for me. And so I've come, and it's fun getting to work on it in a server where we're living in two different cities, and basically we're sort of working together through that. And it's been a fun evolution of the project. It has changed quite a bit of how it's been done. So it's pretty cool.
So I know this is weird for the listeners because we're talking about a visual podcast, but I think it's important to understand the backstory to this, and also hear you two explain, the ins and outs of this, but also talk about it a little bit and your kind of vision behind that. So I do want to spend just a little bit of time actually just talking about some of these things, but you guys can the listeners can go over to the YouTube channel, and we'll give you guys a chance to give you some social media links too, if you want to share those at the end, to follow the project along. You kind of see some of the things that they're talking about in this episode. Hey Auburn family, we're going to take a quick breather from this episode to bring you an important message. One of the most well-known things about Auburn fans is how loyal they are, and we show that loyalty by the colors that we wear. Let us help you stock up on those colors by going over to our tpublic.com store. There you'll find a variety of merchandise geared towards designs based on E2C network and Auburn content. While TeePublic is known for their t-shirts, they have a wide selection of merchandise options for you to select one of these designs to be put on. They also have other types of apparel, stickers, mugs, and much more. Here's the beauty of it. Your purchase will help support this network and the content that we regularly produce. The purchase will also go to support independent artists who put a lot of hard work into designing these concepts, especially for you, the Auburn family. And did I mention that they regularly have sales? T-shirts for $13? You have to be kidding me. If you're ready to explore your purchase options, head on over to tpublic.com/store/E2C network. You can also get there by going to our website at e2cnetwork.com/support. Now that you've got some options to suit up for game day, let's head back into this episode. I got to ask, I know you're all both Auburn fans, but of all the things in the world that you could recreate in Minecraft, why Auburn? Why the loveliest village on the plains? Trey, what do you think about that?
Wow, that is a great question. What else would I build? Honestly, in my mind,
exactly. I can't think of anything else.
I can't imagine spending this much effort and building anything else. And
exactly. If you can spend this much time on something, it's going to have to be something you absolutely love.
Right.
And I told you, the first building that I built was Samford, just because it is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful buildings in the entire world. And I believe that the Minecraft version is awesome too.
Right.
I always told Chris the easiest buildings to build in Minecraft are the ones that look so pretty in real life,
Right.
And Samford and Comer and parts of Jordan turned out really well too. So anyway, it's been fun, and honestly, it's those and my love for the buildings and campus and everything. I can't imagine spending this much time on that. So
I've seen people recreate Disney World on Minecraft. I've seen people create, wonders of the world and stuff like that. But, obviously it makes sense for me talking to you as a fellow Auburn fan, why you would do this. But it's one of those things you think about. It's like, why? Most people are going to ask, why would you want to rebuild Auburn? And it's because you love the place.
I got out of graduate school and, I was a 3D modeler. And I said, I want to build I'm also a gamer, of course. So I wanted to make and have an ongoing project of an actual realistic Auburn campus built with Maya, and where it could be imported into, any open source first person shooter, like how much fun would that be playing Call of Duty or whatever game you play, Battlefield, on Auburn's campus? That was my thing. All right, big, huge 3D Auburn University, realistic, update it as it goes, and then, there's this game Minecraft sticking around, and my daughter's like bugging me, hey, we need to get this, we need to get that. And he'd say, hey, Daddy, let me play Minecraft on your computer. I don't have any time on my computer because she's playing Minecraft all the time. So, but anyway, saw him build that, and I'm like,
I guess my thought has always been because I won't ever always live in Auburn, and I'm not living there now, neither is Chris. And I think the ability to kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, immerse yourself back on campus. Yeah. I think it's a cool thing to be able to do that, and it's not to that point now. We're sort of working on a private server, but my vision is hoping that basically through hopefully traction on Chris's channel and stuff, that hopefully we can have regular visitors, in Minecraft Auburn, which to me sounds like a really cool thing to do.
It would have been useful last year during a pandemic when we
absolutely. Oh, there's a funny story. Yeah. So, and we didn't even post a video about this, but I took a picture. I sort of made up. I've already built the Auburn Arena, which is where the graduation is done, and sort of made it up into graduation, and took a few pictures like it was graduation, just because they weren't doing graduation there in 2020, and so we sort of did a graduation thing in Minecraft since they weren't able to do that. So it would have been useful, but it's a work in progress for sure.
Chris, he's talked a lot about Samford, and I think that is a great thing that you start with. In fact, when we were making the logo for our podcast network, we were trying to come. I mean, if we were just going to be about all things Auburn, it goes back to Samford Hall, and so
Yeah, that's iconic, man.
Exactly.
That's a great logo.
But for you, Chris, like other than Samford Hall, what are some of the more favorite things about campus or even the surrounding areas that you guys have recreated so far?
I think my crown jewel right now is the baseball stadium.
That's right. Yeah. Chris built Plainsman all by himself. Yeah. So yeah, that one looks pretty awesome.
And it looks great. And the new Science Center, I mean, somebody that's looking close can probably tell that the parking lot that's next to the
baseball stadium.
Yeah, the baseball stadium. Sorry, brain fart. It's just the one next to the library pasted over there. It hasn't been fixed yet, but that and I did the outside of Beardy's, and it's hollow and there's nothing inside. It's just
it's basically what it is now. So.
Yeah.
Chris has been working on the downtown section where all of that area too, which I never really sunk that in. I usually just focused on campus, so I went all the way up to Toomer's Corner but didn't go past that. I did do a little work that I did off camera, and I didn't ever do a video about that, but Chris has been working on that and it's looking pretty good too. So
yeah, he built the village and now once he got spun back up again, so well before I ever got the file from him, he went and built Auburn Arena and then the village, and was it last spring we built the hill dorms, and we that's a lot of build one, copy and paste too right there. But it's it's been just hit or miss. It's like, man, I feel like it at night or I don't, and just
yeah, there's been some times I haven't been a huge help to Chris, and I'm sure he hasn't always felt like turning it on either. But anyway, it's
right. Well, I think that's what you have to do with something like this. Such a huge project undertaken. It can't and I often tell this because we've had people who've been co-hosts here on the network and they're not anymore, and they've just chosen to step away. I always tell guys, when it becomes a job for you, for something that you're doing on a volunteer basis, you need to stop doing it, because
that's absolutely right.
Then you're gonna hate it. So I think that you guys are doing a good thing to yourselves by being aware, hey, this is not something that I have to do. There is no one forcing me to do this. If I want to do it, we're going to do it. But if not,
absolutely.
It's fine.
Right. And it's getting to a point now where the progress is so impressive now. And there's so many buildings just ready to be built. And the terrain is spot on. And it just looks fantastic. I mean, it's getting exciting again. I'll tell you another funny story. We I live in Plano, and a couple months ago we had Snowmageddon out here. Well, we live in the same block as one of the big water treatment plants here, so we had power the whole week. So also didn't have work. So we had a whole bunch of buildings up in the air, a lot of terrain to be pasted, but I had a whole week to just sit on my butt. And basically it got completed. The terrain got completed and the buildings got dropped.
All in a matter of a week. Yeah. It was a good week.
There's a lot got done. So it was because you couldn't go outside. I mean, there's 3 feet of snow in North Texas. It was quite ridiculous, but thankfully for it.
I would say that some people are probably not thankful for that, but I guess in some ways we can be here.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, you take the opportunities that are given there, and to do the level of detail work that you guys are doing is absolutely amazing. I got to also say to Chris, I appreciate your interest in really fleshing out downtown. To me, downtown is basically an extension of the university now, not just because of, students spend a lot of time there, whether it be for the nightlife, but, just the local businesses there. I mean, obviously Toomer's Drug is the obvious thing that you think about when you think of downtown Auburn.
Iconic.
But the thing that I appreciate the most, and this is going to be stupid, I acknowledge this right up at the front, is the little building it used to be a bike shop connected to Pita Pit with the wave mural side of the building.
Yeah, Trey did that.
I did make that mural. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You can't have downtown Auburn with that type of thing. And that's what we're talking about. I mean, you got to include everything, even if it doesn't look exactly right, but that turned out pretty cool.
So
Now,
I hope they don't tear down the freewheeler,
yes.
even though they probably need to, but leave that wall up. Just put some structure behind it to keep the brick wall standing.
So for those of you Auburn family members out there that are lamenting daily and nightly about how much it's changing, you better appreciate what they're doing right now, because right now they're kind of documenting it as is right now. Speaking of which, I want to just do a shameless request here, personal request for myself. The building that used to be right next to the mural was called the Auburn Baptist Campus Ministries there. I spent a lot of time there, and I was actually the resident, one of the residents there, spent 2 years of my life living up above.
No way, that's cool.
If you guys could recreate that for me, because it's torn down now, I actually have a brick I wasn't supposed to take from the building in my house.
Sweet.
Absolutely, we will.
I need that done.
Take a few pictures.
I can get you pictures inside and out.
Oh, absolutely. We need that. It's funny. I need to do I don't know, my process of how I'm building buildings, because it's 1,000 pictures and satellite pictures and a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, yeah, absolutely, we can do that. It's cool because when I started in 2013, campus actually looked a lot different. There was a lot of things that's changed. And so it's kind of funny because of the length of time it's taken to sort of get to this point in the process that we've had to go back and redo. Like right now, Drawn Library, RBD library still has its original front on it in Minecraft right now. So we have to go back and do the new classroom building. When I originally did Jordan-Hare Stadium, they had the old scoreboard, because when I built it, that old scoreboard was still there. And in a later video, I actually did a build of the Tigertron type thing. So anyway, it's funny how it evolves so quickly, and we're just trying to keep up with how quickly Auburn's campus changes.
We're all trying to keep up with it.
I know.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm a traditionalist and I hate change, but I also understand that it's necessary. I really kind of connect with y'all's project, because at least for a moment, until y'all have to change it, you're kind of capturing Auburn as is. For that little piece and at that point in time right there. So how about this? Where are we at in terms of finishing campus? Is either of you take that? Where are you kind of at in terms of getting that done?
Actually, I've got probably 85 to 90% of the buildings at least outlined to where the outside wall location is correct, going down into them, and it just needs to be fleshed out and detailed, and which that's not easy, and it's a lot of work, and so, but it's incredible how much we've been able to, knock all those out, because now you're always kind of looking around. Is this where it goes? You don't want to build it, and have to knock it down or move it, it's just, but now, all right, there's all the roads, everything. We know exactly where things are. It is, the terrain isn't perfect, but it, especially when there's been a lot of construction and earth moving, and some buildings are still sitting where they're supposed to, and they're 2 blocks off the ground, which is a couple meters, and so it's kind of, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed. But we're close to it looking well. And another thing that really makes it look a lot different in the new renders is, when I dropped all the buildings, I had to raise them, but I raised everything, and so and I had a top view in this plugin that I had, and I was moving the buildings around to get them in the perfect place, but I couldn't see down there with the current, with the trees and the grass and all the sidewalks. And so I had to just obliterate all those in order to get the buildings in the perfect place and then drop them. And so all the trees are gone, and we're having to put those back in, one at a time. And it looks like barren, but it's correct. There's no trees, but it's correct.
Yeah, I'd say the core of campus, and I think it depends on your definition of what is 100%, because campus in actuality extends south for miles. And I used to have a number in my head how many buildings there are on Auburn's campus, and it's somewhere in the 80s that I landed on. However, that number could probably swell if you included a whole bunch of other outbuildings. And it's funny, in each update I would say, hey, I'm 24%, or I am I'm 32%, but it's funny when you do it in that percentage because with this type of project, there's always more work you could do. So it's a little frustrating with that, but I think a lot of people can see now that what they sort of see as campus, we're sort of working on that outer athletic area, and what that's finishing up what a lot of people understand or believe in their head is campus. So
Yeah.
I think it would be a major milestone when we get to that point.
So here's what I'm thinking of now, because you talked about what is actually 100%. Where does campus end? Technically, I can make a case that campus extends to the Tallahassee exit heading towards Montgomery because there's the agriculture facility that's at that exit.
Absolutely.
Do you guys want to take that project on?
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I mean, technically we could go that far, and like I said, this game is pretty limitless. So I mean, heck, we could build that far out if we wanted to. But I don't know what Chris has in mind.
That's a lot of terrain to capture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, actually, I have captured inside the entire Sugar Jordan Parkway that heads all the way over to the mall and around the top. I've got that much terrain, but that's a little too big to put on the server.
Probably can't handle that type of workload.
Right. There's a lot of memory we're talking about.
I was even thinking about, like it's probably still too far, but, I kind of consider not obviously part of campus and it's technically in Opelika, but Tiger Town is such a big thing for students and the residents of Auburn that, you might want to think about going that far, but that's even a big.
Oh, I have. I have that terrain. It's in a completely different save files. I mean, but yeah, I have captured that. I've gone.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So we may be going over that far. Yeah.
But because I at least wanted to get the airport because that's a big part.
Yeah,
of,
definitely it is. The funny thing here is, Chris is just realizing, Trey is realizing, oh wow, I've got more work to do now.
That's a lot of work. Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
Maybe it can become less detailed when we go that far. I don't know, but
yeah, I think a good thing for you guys would be just continue with what you're doing, do what you want to, can invest in what you're passionate about the campus, and then because that's what people are going to really connect with most of all is campus, the downtown area, the surrounding little community around that. Sugar Jordan Parkway, like you said, it's almost like a big, not a circle, but just a shape that encompasses most of what people appreciate and understand that is Auburn University and the surrounding area. And I love it because I love everything about the city. I don't currently live there either. We have hopes to move back there someday. And then I'm going to have to go back and critique every little segment of this and be like,
yeah,
not so bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be interested to know what other people, I guess are more interested to see, because we have everybody has their own interpretation of what they, what is Auburn to them.
Yeah.
And anyway, so
to close out our discussion, how about this? Let's go to both of you and ask this. We'll start with Chris. Chris, what is the one thing that you haven't done yet that you're excited to complete on the project?
Let's see.
And you've done a lot, so you've already kind of done a lot of the big things.
Well, actually, I'm working on a video. It'll probably be out very soon, where we go and I kind of outline and I tell you a lot about what we talked about today, and I demonstrate it and show you examples of it. This will be out in a couple of days, and then we go over and outline the border of the Auburn Football Performance Center. And I've already done that. I went ahead and leveled the site a couple of months ago and put that retaining wall up. So whenever I got some motivation, that fleeting thing we talk about that has almost taken this project down at times, I guess. So if I get motivated, this place needs to be ready. So I just went and cleared it. And
I told Chris I've never built a building before that didn't exist before. So yeah, that would be interesting, building that one that they haven't even gotten that one started yet. So
wow.
Yeah, lucky there's some great drawings and some good renderings. So we're fortunate about that. But that's going to be, well, we've had there's going to be some videos in the future that I'll go into just the struggles of just the angles and things, but we're blessed. Most of the things on Auburn's campus are straight up north-south, which is big, huge plus, and it makes it so much easier. Things look so much better.
He's talking about it lines up north, south, east, west. If you have anything at an angle, it doesn't line up with the blocks, and that that's become a real issue when you're dealing with Minecraft. So that's been interesting.
We've had to get past it.
Yeah, sounds like you guys don't ever want to tackle Atlanta, because that thing is.
Oh yeah.
People have shown overhead shots of Atlanta versus it's like I think they showed a grid, roadway system out in, I don't know, out in the West where everything's nice and neat and blocky, and it said, "Oh, look at this," and it showed Atlanta, and I'm not going to use the word it said, but it was like, blank you.
That was New York. That was that was Manhattan, and it's like, hey, Manhattan, because we want you to know where you are and where you're going. Atlanta, because blank you. That's why.
Exactly. So anyway, obviously there's a lot of different aspects that you guys can share about this. But Trey, what's the one thing that hasn't been completed yet that you're most excited to complete?
Wow, that is a good question. Right now we're working on a lot of the arts buildings on Samford, Pete Theater, and the Goodwin Hall, which is the music, and Dudley, which is architecture building. Those are all, I think when I get those three all completely done, that's going to be a really cool area of campus for me. And I'm excited about that, because we sort of built Hill, and we have yet to sort of fill in between basically where the student center is and up to the Hill. So I think doing that, kind of fleshing out that area, what I consider core campus, which is pretty much everything in between Samford Avenue and Magnolia, kind of, and basically bounded by those two roads. If we get everything like that, I'll be a very, very happy camper.
What I find fascinating about this is, and I know you guys, again, we've stressed this throughout the show, that you're doing this as time allows, as you have the energy, the drive to do so. My hope is that someday you guys will get to a point where it's almost a living, ever-changing document is not the right word, but that's what I'm just going to use right here, where it's set up kind of, but then as things change, you guys could come in and, as you did with the football performance facility, kind of level it and build it as it comes up, and it's kind of like, wow, this really is a living virtual Auburn that is reflective to the best of its ability about what's actually going on campus right now. And it'd be a really cool tool for Auburn folks to have that live across the country, across the world, to just take a moment and just vicariously live through this little world that you all have built for the Auburn family. So it's really
completely agree. That excites me.
So how about this? I want people to be able to follow you, be able to follow along with what's going on. So Trey, why don't you tell them if you want to share any social media that you have, again, the YouTube channel for you, and just kind of where the best place to keep up with what's going on with this project.
Okay, well, my name's Trey Long, but if you search me, you're not going to find anything with Minecraft. So with YouTube, to see all the original videos, that's going to be Weagler Minecraft, and just basically if you search Weagler, Weagler in YouTube, you'll probably find it, and just basically see what I did 6 or 7 years ago, and then hopefully all the new stuff will be posted on Chris's channel. Just basically get a little bit more of a fresh take at it, and that's pretty much where you can find that thing.
And Chris, for you, where can they follow along all the social media, the YouTube stuff for you?
Okay, on Instagram, it is MC Aubie, all one word, and Twitter as well. Of course, we don't have much up on Twitter yet, but that will. I'm going to be mimicking the Instagram posts onto there soon. So, and we're just getting this thing up on, re-up on social.
Yeah, early stages of sharing it again.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you, and that's. Oh, and the YouTube channel, Auburn Minecraft Project. Just search that in YouTube, and
awesome.
There should be the first video I've made, like high production quality, probably be out by the end of this weekend, which is, it explains a lot about what we talked about on here to where it probably make more sense. So
awesome.
If you're looking at it, it'll make more sense for sure.
Again, it's the funniest thing about a podcast. You're a lot of times talking about very visual things in an audio format, and it's kind of oxymoronic when you think about it. But I truly believe that sometimes the best thing to do is to hear the people who are behind these types of things, to hear their vision, just almost see with your ears how this process has been going, and hear the frustrations sometimes, but also the victories and the great things that you love about this project, the Auburn Minecraft project.
It's all about the love for Auburn, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, I really appreciate you spending some time with me today. You didn't have to do this, and it really means a lot that you hang out with me for, just a little while and explain this, your love of Auburn, but your love of Minecraft, and connect it back to everything for the Auburn family. So thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. And War Eagle.
If you want to follow along, make sure you follow them on social media, on YouTube, and keep up to date with what's going on. And you can find out what's happening lately with this project. As always, we love talking about off-the-wall subjects here for the Auburn family. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Before you get out of here, we want to remind you of a couple of things. Head over to E2CNetwork.com, our website where you can find everything that you'll ever need from us, podcasts, blogs, and even ways to help support the show. If you want to find individual episodes, you can download all of these on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So until we see you again, I want to remind you of one thing, that here at the network, we believe in Auburn and love it. The only question remains, do you?